Hello everyone. Let's discuss questions from jurisprudence. The first question: what is jurisprudence? Jurisprudence is the theory of a philosophy of law, examining what law is and what it ought to be. What is law? Law is a system of rules created and enforced by governmental institutions to regulate behavior and ensure justice. What are the sources of law? Legislation, precedent, that is case law, customs, and conventions. When did the modern jurisprudence begin? In the 18th century. What is the rule of law? The rule of law means that no one is above the law and the laws apply equally to all individuals. What is a constitution? A constitution is the supreme legal document that lays down the fundamental principles and a framework of a country's government. What is a statute? A statute is a formal written law enacted by a legislative body. What is common law? Common law is law developed through judicial decisions rather than through statutes. How was justice viewed in ancient Egypt? It was considered a moral order maintained by the pharaoh and tied to religious beliefs. What is equity? Equity refers to legal principles that supplement the common law to achieve justice. What is the code of Ur-Nammu known for? The code of Ur-Nammu is one of the earliest non-legal codes emphasizing compensation for wrongs. What is the main characteristic of the legal system in terms of formality? The legal system is formal, written, and codified. Which ancient legal code is famous for the principle of an eye for an eye? The Code of Hammurabi. Who creates the laws in a legal system? Laws are created by authorized entities such as legislatures. How are other normative systems different in terms of codification? Other normative systems, like social customs and religious practices, are often informal and unwritten. Who has the authority to enforce laws in the legal system? The state, courts, police, and government authorities enforce laws. How are social norms enforced in non-legal systems? They are enforced through social pressure, peer review, or voluntary compliance. Give an example of enforcement in non-legal systems. Social exclusion in social groups or moral or spiritual consequences in religious systems. To whom does the legal system apply? The legal system applies to all individuals within a specific jurisdiction, regardless of their beliefs or affiliations. What did Plato's Republic discuss about justice? It viewed justice as harmony within the state. What issues does jurisprudence investigate? It explores the definition of law, legal validity, legal norms and values, and the relationship between law and other fields like economics, ethics, and sociology. What was Aristotle's view of justice? Aristotle saw justice as fairness and proportional equality. What is a precedent? A precedent is a previous judicial decision that serves as a rule for future similar cases. What is the difference between civil and criminal law? Civil law deals with disputes between individuals, while criminal law deals with offenses against the state. What is separation of powers? It is the division of government powers into legislative, executive, and judicial branches. What is the difference between substantive and procedural law? Substantive law defines rights and duties, while procedural law provides the process for enforcing them. What is judicial review? It is the power of courts to determine the constitutionality of laws. What are fundamental rights? Basic rights guaranteed to individuals, such as freedom of speech and a right to equality. What major Roman legal compilation influenced modern law? The corpus juris civilis, that means the body of civil law. What role did the Catholic Church play in medieval law? The Catholic Church governed religious practices through canon law. What characterized the legal system under feudalism? Decentralized law tied to local lords with justice based on customary laws. Who integrated Christian theology with natural law in the medieval period? Thomas Aquinas. Who do religious or social norms typically apply to? They usually apply only to members of specific groups or communities. Which Enlightenment thinker proposed the social contract theory? John Locke. What types of sanctions are imposed by the legal system? Formal sanctions such as imprisonment, fines, or other official penalties. What types of sanctions exist in non-legal systems? Informal sanctions like a social ostracism or excommunication. What did Rousseau's general will emphasize in relation to law? The role of law in promoting justice and protecting individual liberty. What gives the legal system its legitimacy? The legal system derives legitimacy from the state authority and institutional mechanisms. Which legal theory rejected the connection between law and morality? Legal positivism. What legal code did Napoleon introduce in 1804? The Napoleonic Code. Why did social justice movements emerge in the 19th century? To address inequality caused by industrialization and urbanization. What is habeas corpus? Habeas corpus is a writ used to challenge unlawful detention. What is the doctrine of basic structure? The doctrine of basic structure states that Parliament cannot amend the Constitution in a way that alters its fundamental principles. What is mandamus? Mandamus is a writ commanding a public official to perform a duty. On what basis do non-legal norms derive legitimacy? They derive legitimacy from cultural, moral, or spiritual authority. What is actus reus? Actus reus is the physical act of committing a crime. How does the legal system resolve conflicts? Through formal institutions like courts and arbitration. What is federalism? Federalism is a system where power is divided between a central government and a regional governments. How do non-legal systems typically resolve conflicts? Through informal mediation by community leaders or elders. What is certiorari? Certiorari is a writ used to quash a lower court's decision. What is the key difference in enforcement between legal and non-legal systems? The legal system enforces laws through formal institutions, while non-legal systems rely on informal social pressure. What is prohibition? A writ stopping a lower court from exceeding its jurisdiction. Why is the legal system considered a universal regulatory system? Because it applies to all individuals in a jurisdiction, unlike religious or social norms that apply only to specific groups. What is quo warranto? Quo warranto is a writ questioning a person's right to hold a public office. What is the difference between murder and a culpable homicide? Murder is intentional killing, while culpable homicide may lack intent. What is mens rea? The guilty mind or intention to commit a crime. Which international document was adopted in 1948 to recognize universal human rights? The Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Which international courts were established to address global justice issues? the International Court of Justice (ICJ) and the International Criminal Court (ICC. What does the Critical Legal Studies (CLS) movement argue? CLS movement argues that law often reinforces social hierarchies and power structures. What is the main similarity between the legal system and other normative systems? Both aim to regulate behavior, maintain social order, and resolve disputes.